we did was to start from the beginning again. And in some ways that was quite a risky thing to do. But I really felt that part of what had gone wrong was that there was no strategic view of where they wanted to get to. And so we started at a very high level with a new strategic plan for the systems development piece of the ministry to see what a financial system should deliver, because I felt that they had been trying to build something that was too big and too fancy for a little place. You start at the beginning, in other words, in my view. You start with where is the organization trying to go and what pieces does it need to get there, instead of starting at the bottom, which is what had happened before, which was what are all the 20,000 things that we do in a day and how can we automate them, which is starting at the bottom. So we started over at the beginning at the strategic level, and the first thing that was done just before I was hired, a company was selected to do a strategic systems plan for the ministry, and they were very good at what they did. And they helped us all overcome a lot of the resentment and skepticism through the way they approached the development of the strategic plan. They involved staff from throughout the organization again, and really made it interesting enough and different enough from what they'd gone through before that they participated effectively. And that was also our mechanism to find the money again. Because in putting a strategic plan in place, we had then the commitment of the senior ministry management team. Since we provide financial services for two ministries, it was even more complicated than most organizations would have. So we had to convince two sets of deputy ministers, assistant deputy ministers, and ministers to invest again in something they thought that they had already bought once. There were several other things we did to demonstrate that technology could make a difference. One of the new people, again, part of the problem was that the ministry was under-resourced in the systems area, which is often the case for new small places. And so we brought in some new people to do systems work on a day-to-day basis. And by just reinvesting the money that we were already spending more wisely, we implemented an email system, for example, for executives, which is the first that they'd ever had. And they came to see that we could deliver. If we said we were going to do something by the umpteenth, we did. And so that was one way of getting support and getting belief that something could change or happen. By involving people in developing it, and then I think certainly every manager and probably almost every person in the ministry got a copy at the end. We have a central agency process here too, where we have to submit such reports to that central agency, and they felt we had done a good job with it, which is very important again for the senior staff in the ministry. They knew that an external source felt that it was a good document that was well done. And that's an important component to two things. One, to believing that we had done the right thing, but also support centrally for spending money. Money expenditures in the technology area are controlled by the same central agency. So even if you want to do something and you have the money to do it, you can't do it until they say yes. So this was part of the process of getting that approval. I had to find out what this organization needed from a technology point of view. I had to find out what kind of financial information system would be appropriate to the size and type of ministry that it was. I had to know more about what the ministry did for a living, because that's how you build such a system. There were also the issues of how to manage the change for the financial staff who were involved, and at that point they were not part of my branch. And I felt that under those circumstances, you had to have a very strong team of people who were going in the same direction together, or else you run into trouble. Because you can end up in turf wars, to put it mildly, in those circumstances. And when we were trying to do something fast and cheap, turf wars are expensive and time-consuming.